Alright guys, welcome to class. Hi Dawn, I can see you there. Alrighty, so equipment for tonight's class, we're getting into knees and ankles. So whenever there's knees involved, it's always a good idea to have quite a bit of padding. We're going to be getting into a couch stretch. So a couch stretch using a bench is going to look something like this. But you could use your couch if you have your couch handy. You could use a coffee table. If you don't have any of those things to hand, I can show you how to set it up using a couple of yoga blocks. But anything like your couch, even your bed, anything like that is going to be, or a wall, you could use a wall. Anything like that is going to be fine for your couch stretch. Yoga blocks are always handy. Ankle weight if you've got it. And I like to use a dowel when I'm in the couch stretch. If you don't have one, you could set yourself up with a chair or something in front of you to help you create more tension. But again, if you don't have that stuff, you will still make it through the class. So don't worry about it. But run and grab any equipment that you think you're going to need, and we will get started. We are going to start with cars. Our main joint focus today is knee and ankle, as our theme for the month in the membership this week is runners. There's lots of races going on. I'm doing lots of running myself. So we're going to take care of those knees and ankles, and we'll squeeze some toes in at the end if we have time. So we're going to start with just seated knee and ankle cars. You can sit on the floor, you can sit on a chair, whatever suits you. And bring your right arm underneath your right hamstring. Clasp your hands together for your knee cars. We're going to go 3 each direction. So I'm going to internally rotate that knee. I'm going to drive up, not quite to straight. Externally rotate and then squeeze in. And I always say this with knee cars. Rotate, but then continue to try to search for more rotation as you extend. Rotate and continue to try to search for more rotation as you flex. One more this direction, up, out, down, pausing, switching direction here, driving up, rotating, pulling down. That's one. Rotate out and up, rotate in and down, out and up, in and down, squeezing right in. Okay, then from here I'm going to go straight into my ankle cars, 3 each way. I'm going to invert that ankle, scooping down, pointing my toes, everting out. That's 1, 2. If I had a marker pen sticking out of my heel, trying to draw the biggest circle that I can without that knee rotating, and then I'm going to switch. 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff. Let's switch to the other side. Okay, so left hand comes under left hammy, clasping hands together. Let's internally rotate that knee and extend away. Externally rotate that knee and flex, pulling right in. Find tibia internal rotation and search for more as I drive up. Find tibia external rotation and search for more as I pull down. Rotate in, up, out, down, and then switching directions. I'm going to keep that tibia external rotation, drive up, internally rotate, pull down, externally rotate, drive up, internally rotate down, externally rotate up, internally rotate down, and then just grabbing those 3 ankle cars in our standard position. We've got some more positional cars to get through before we dive in to our pails and rails and our space creation and end range work. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, come and lie down. I'm going to use a yoga block. If you don't have one, you could just use your hand. I'm going to bring my right leg up into about 90 degrees of hip flexion. And then I'm going to use the block to help me keep that hip there. There's a tendency when doing knee cars here to let the hip sort of come on in. I want to keep that 90 degrees. What you do with the other leg, I don't mind. I'm just putting mine straight so that you can really see what I'm doing here. And I'm going to grab 3 knee cars in this position. Internally rotate, pull on in, externally rotate, drive out, internally rotate, pull on in, externally rotate and drive out. One more time, internally rotate and in, externally rotate and out, internally rotate in. Stay there, keep the internal rotation and drive up, externally rotate and down, internally rotate and up. Keep searching for more rotation and down. Try to pull that heel right into that hamstring. Starting to build a little more intensity into these reps now. Rotate up, rotate down. Now extend the knee fully and grab your ankle cars in this position. So 3 each way. 2, 3. Imagining that marker pen coming out of my heel is drawing a big circle on the ceiling. 2, 3. Starting to warm things up. Switching sides. All right, let's find tibia internal rotation. Pull on in, tibia external rotation and drive out. Keep it going, guys. You don't need me to cue every rep now. Just know that you're moving at like a slow but steady pace. You don't have to match my reps exactly. And switch direction. Just make sure you're really trying to look for as much flexion. Try to pull that heel in and as much rotation as you can possibly squeeze out of each rep. Thinking of these as more like training reps. Good. Okay, finishing up. And then extending that knee and drawing a circle with that ankle. 3 in each direction. 3, 2, 1. Good. All right. Last but not least, we're going to repeat all that, but in a prone position. So lying on your front, which means we're going to be biasing a little bit of hip extension here. So when I lie on my front, I'm going to bend my right leg. This is the leg I'm going to start with. There's always a tendency to want to use my back to extend my hip. I want you to think of trying to do an ab crunch through the floor here. So engage your front body, hover that quad, or at least just make it light as much as you can off the floor. And we'll grab our knee cars here. So I'm going to internally rotate and pull in. And this is where it starts to get a bit funky because you can't see what you're doing. Externally rotate, drive out. Internally rotate, pull in. Feel that hamstring. Externally rotate, drive out. Glute and hamstring active throughout as you keep the quad light. Keep rotating. Rotating. One more this direction. Rotate. Pull in. Freeze. And switch. Drive out. Rotate. Pull in. Rotate, drive out. Rotate, pull in. One more time. Rotate out. Rotate in. Good. All right. Pausing here again. Driving that heel up to the ceiling as you scoop out your ankle cars. 3 in each direction. Try to keep that quad light on the mat. 1, 2, 3. Good stuff. All right, changing around. It's an interesting position to get your knee and ankle curves in. Alrighty, and then from here, keeping your quad light, let's rotate, pull in, rotate, drive out, rotate, pull in, rotate, and drive out. Rotate in, rotate out, rotate and in, freeze, and then switch directions. Keep thinking ab crunch through the floor, through the mat. Keep that engagement. Freeze here, and then 3 ankle cars. Do the best you can. Keeping that quad light. All right. Ankles and knees thoroughly warmed up, ready to go. We're going to grab some toe cars before we dive in. Now, up to you if you want to challenge yourself and do these in a squat position. That is one of the hardest positions to do your toe cars in. You could do them in a little bit of a supported squat by throwing some blocks underneath. You could even sit on a chair, okay? Whatever works for you. Let's get some toe cars in. So, without inverting or everting the ankle, try to lift both big toes. Put them down. And let's rep that out. 1, 2, 3. Keeping all the other toes still. If this is impossible for you, you can always bring those hands in. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, big toes stay glued to the floor. Lift all your other toes up. Put them down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lift all 10 toes. Try to abduct, spread your toes, and then think of playing the piano. Pinky toes go down first, then the next, then the next, then the next, then the big toe. Try that. Lift and spread. Pinky toe comes down, then the next, then the next, then the next, and the big toe. Keep working that. If you have to look down, that's fine. We're not knocking off points. You're allowed to look at your feet. And if it doesn't happen for you today, well, maybe you know that's something that you got to spend some time on. One more time. Lift, spread, and put down. All right, good stuff. Okay, let's get on to our knee work and the couch stretch. Couch stretch is one of my favorites. It's great for getting into that quad. And I haven't met a runner yet who doesn't need to do a little bit more couch stretch, probably me included. So let's get into it. This is where you're going to need your coffee table, your bench, or your chair, or your couch. And I'm going to start by training my left leg first, simply because you guys get a better view of that leg, but you can train either leg first. So let me show you the stretch before we get into things. You're going to hook your foot on the edge of your couch or your bench, and you're going to step your other leg up so that you're in a low lunge position. I like to use a dowel so that I can drive this dowel into the floor and create good irradiation and tension. I'm looking for a stretch through my quad. This would be more of a hip flexor stretch. You want to try to get your butt as close to your heel as you can. Now, not everybody's going to be able to express this position that I'm showing here. So let me show you some alternatives. An alternative way to get into it would be to come up to your wall or your couch, slide your leg up, and then bring yourself around. And maybe you're in more of this position, and that's fine too. You can throw some blocks underneath your hands, and that could be giving you a good stretch, okay? That might be you. And if this is just too unbearable for words, if you've got some really tight quads, and I know there's some of you out there, just throw up a couple of yoga blocks. Pop your toes on the yoga block and bring yourself into a stretch like this. I mean, you could be more like this. I prefer this version as it just gives me a little bit more, but you could be like this. And that is a much milder version of the stretch altogether. So pick your poison, pick what you're going to work with today. But eventually, you're trying to progress to a point where your butt and your heel are as close together as they can get, and your quad is in the longest position that it can be. So, coming into the stretch, search for an intensity that feels like at least a 6 out of 10. Okay, I want at least a 6 out of 10 through that quad. And while you get into the stretch and while you find the position, I will talk you through what our PAILS and rails is going to be. So we're going to do PAILS and rails for knee flexion. So our PAILS is going to be me pushing the top of my foot through the bench as if I was trying to straighten my leg, okay, as if I was trying to extend my knee. My rails is the opposite. My rails is me trying to pull my heel to my butt and really squeeze that hamstring as short as I possibly can. Watch out for the hamstring cramp, okay? So take a few last deep breaths in that stretch. Make sure you've really got it where you want it in that quad. And we're going to start PAILS and rails. They're going to be 20-second intervals, and we're going to do 3 rounds. If you notice any pinching when you do your rails, if you get any pinching at the back of the knee in the closing angle, just avoid the rails for now. Stick to the PAILS, okay? Ready, set, and push. Start to push your foot through the wall or the couch behind you, putting tension through that stretch. Keep pushing, keep driving. You've got 7 seconds to build that intensity for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails, squeeze that hamstring. Try to pull your heel to your butt. Try to pull your butt to your heel. Close the gap between these two things. Squeeze tighter for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. PAILS, push into the object behind you. Keep pushing and driving. If you're at a wall here, you're possibly pushing your whole shin into the wall behind you. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, push harder, 2, 1, rails, squeeze that hamstring. Keep squeezing, keep pulling. I'm imagining that one day I could pull my foot right off that bench. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push, PAILS. Try to push out of the stretch. Try to push out of the stretch. Keep driving the intensity. Keep building, keep building, keep building. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and last rails. I said 3 sets. Make this your best rails yet. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing. 8, 7, hard to talk and do it. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now don't jump out of the stretch if you can possibly help it. We want to take a moment just to own that any new space that we found. So if you've been able to create a bit more space, try to move into it now. So for me, that means moving my butt closer to my heel. If you're down here in the stretch, that might mean just coming up a little bit onto your knee. Do something to lift your torso, bring your butt closer to your heel, sinking into any new space that you've created, and take 3 breaths. Good stuff. All right, come on out. We've got the same torture on the other side. So again, pick whichever variation of the stretch you're going to work with today. Make sure you've got some good padding underneath your knee. If you've ever tried to do this without padding, probably didn't last very long. And just take a moment to bow into the stretch and find the stretch. What this leg, the other leg, is doing, I really don't mind. You could have it straight, you could have it bent, just whatever helps you find the stretch through the opposite quad the most. Pay attention to what your pelvis is doing. You could play slightly with the rotation of the pelvis to hit slightly different lines of tissue in your quad. And again, make sure you're hitting a stretch that feels at least a 6 out of 10. Good stuff. All right, so now hopefully everybody's in position. Everybody's got tension going through their stretch. Let's begin our first set of PAILS. Breath in. And start to push into the object behind you like you're trying to straighten your leg. Build that intensity. You've got 8 seconds to build. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now find rails. Find the short stuff. See if you can make it any shorter in this position. When I'm teaching this in class, I say, imagine you are holding a $100 bill between your heel and your butt. And if you can squeeze it in there, you get to keep it. 3, 2, 1, and push PAILS. Push for 5, 4, 3, build it, 2, 1. Second set of rails, there you go, squeeze. Find hamstring stuff. Keep trying to find hamstring stuff. I know it's scary and you're like, I'm millimeters from a cramp right now, but keep searching for it. Keep trying to find more of it. Keep trying to switch it on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push, PAILS. Push with your quad. 9, 8, push harder, build. 6, last set. 5, give it everything. 4, 3, 2, 1, rails, pull. Pull yourself deeper into the position. Squeeze that regressive tissue. 10, 9, 8, 7. Oh, I can't even count. I'm squeezing so hard. 3, 2, 1. Done. Good. Try not to bust out of the position. Stay in the stretch for a moment longer. If you can find some more space, finding more space is great. Like, it is a win. But even if you just find the stretch a little bit more tolerable, that is also a win. Okay? Breathe. Big exhales. Nice. Coming out of that position. Okay, we are not done with the couch position yet. We are going to come back into the first leg that you trained for some lift-offs. Let me explain. Okay, so for the lift-offs, we are using the same tissue, the same stuff that you used for your rails contraction. Okay, we're working that regressive stuff. So I'm going to shift out of the stretch so I'm not so close to my end range. So when I activate my rails stuff, I can actually lift off the bench behind me, okay? I may even need to come out just a little bit more. Now, we don't need a big lift off. What I'm showing you here is about perfect, like an inch, inch and a half, because that's what we call my end range, and that's what we're trying to train here. Once I've got that position, I do not move my torso or the rest of my body. The only thing that moves is that foot or that shin pulling away from the bench. So it's not a lean, okay? It's not this, okay? I'm actually trying to keep everything else still, squeeze that hamstring and create a gap between the bench and me. If you're at a wall, you're trying to create a gap between the wall and you or the couch and you, whatever it is that you're using. So find that setup for yourself. We have got a minute of liftoffs. Now, if you can't complete the minute, that's fine. If you cramp out and have to come back in, that's fine, but I'm going to keep going for a minute, okay? Rest if you need to. Find your setup, ready, set, go. Minute has started. Squeeze glute, squeeze hamstring, lift off, put down. So when I lift off, every time I'm squeezing and I'm fighting for more, holding for a second and then putting down, okay? It's a very intentional lift and squeeze and then put down. And as I fatigue, my lift off is going to get smaller and I may need to change my body position in order to continue to lift off. Keep going. Whew. Here comes the cramp monster. Squeeze, down, squeeze, down. Don't worry if yours don't look like mine. As long as you're finding that regressive tissue and making it work, that's what we want. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, lift off, hold, squeeze. Put it down. Good stuff. All right, other side. And if that felt like torture for you, don't worry, because it felt like torture for me too. Other side. Okay. Okay, you know the drill. Find your position. Do a little test lift off. Make sure we're not doing a massive lift off. You want about an inch. Perfect, that's good for me. Okay. Ready, set, and start. So I'm finding that aggressive tissue, lifting off and squeezing, fighting for more, putting it down. Finding that aggressive tissue, squeezing as hard as I can, putting it down. 'Everything else remains like a statue. So lots of good tension through the core. You could have your hands on a wall, you could have your hands on a counter, whatever you need to make this work. Oh, I'm getting some calf cramp. Goody. Keep going. 10 seconds of torture left. Make it good. Try to make sure all the effort comes from that regressive tissue, even as you fail. 3, 2, 1, and done. Well done. Okay. All right, no more of those. Done with those. We're gonna come back to cars for our knees. Now we're gonna load this next set of cars. Loading is always optional, of course. But if you are choosing to load, the ankle weight goes around the foot. That way we are loading the rotational component of the knee car, okay? All right, so we're gonna do these in our supine position again, using the block or just using your hand to keep that hip in around 90 degrees of flexion, okay? We're gonna do these for time. I'm gonna tell you when to change directions. Okay, ready, set, minute of knee cars starts now. I'm gonna start internally rotated and drive out, externally rotate and pull in. And I'm gonna continue in this direction and then I will tell you when to change. Keep going. Searching for as much rotation as you can find. and change direction. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good stuff. Keep that ankle weight on, flip over. We're going to do it in the prone position for 1 minute. Again, try to keep your quad light. Think ab crunch through the floor. Off we go. Squeeze in. Now, when we're doing cars after we've done end range work, I want you to really try to find those end ranges again. So as you squeeze in, heel to hamstring, remember that end range lift off and try to find that same stuff, that same range. Keep going. 3, 2, 1, change direction. Hoo-yee. Everything feeling it. Hamstrings, glutes. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. Thank goodness for that. Let's swap the weights onto the other foot. Alrighty. Remember, loading is completely optional. You could just run through your cars again without the load. Ready? And off you go. I'm going to start with internal rotation and extension. External rotation and flexion. Internal rotation and extension. External rotation and flexion. Keep going. And just because we've loaded doesn't mean you start to rush. Keep the reps smooth. Keep them even. Keep them at a training intensity. And switch. Ten seconds. Legs getting heavy. 2, 1, done. Keep that ankle weight on, roll over. Try to make your quad light as you run through your knee cars here. 1 minute. And 3, 2, 1, switch. Keep the belly button light, pelvis heavy, quad light. Keep going. We'll be done with knees after this. You'll be glad to hear there's no more knees after this. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. Excellent. Okay, no more knees. Knees are done. Good stuff. Next time I see you, we'll be doing more knee extension work. Today was more about that quad. Next time it's going to be more about that hamstring. Okay, moving on to the ankle. So the input for PAILS and rails today is going to be the ankle in a dorsiflexed position. So let me show you what that's going to look like. My favorite way to train dorsiflexion is in this position that we call the base position. Okay, I'm looking for a stretch down through the back here. So Achilles tendon is really tough. You might not feel a stretch right away. You might have to be in it for a while before you feel the stretch. But I'm looking for my knee to get as far over my big toe as I possibly can, potentially even loading that with my body weight. Okay, that is dorsiflexion. What often happens is our ability to get down in this deep squat position is actually the limiting factor here. So if you can't get down into this position, let me give you some alternatives. You could use a block just to make it just a little bit more accessible. Another thing you could do is train dorsiflexion standing up. So if you were standing up, you'd have your hands on a wall, and then your back leg would be the one that you were training, your back ankle, and you'd take a bend in that knee. See how it's just the same position, really, as I was in. And then you'd lean against the wall and drive your heel down, okay? But just make sure you have a bend in the knee. Like this, we're gonna be hitting more calf stuff. I really want you to get into as much ankle dorsiflexion as possible. So those are some alternatives you could use. Get yourself comfortable because we are going to be hanging out here doing PAILS and rail sets just like we did for the knee. So let me get my timers sorted out while you guys get yourself into the stretch. So I'm leaning as far over my toes as I can. My PAILS and rails in this position is going to be, PAILS is going to be me feeling like I'm gas pedaling the floor, like getting very heavy on the ball of my foot. My rails is going to be the opposite. It's me driving my heel into the floor as hard as I can, imagining I could pull the top of my foot to the front of my shin. At no time does my body position change, okay? So that's my PAILS and rails. Same deal if you're in the standing position. The cues are exactly the same, okay? Let's give it a go. So, starting the timer, take a breath in, start to get heavy through the ball of the foot for your PAILS, and start to push. So driving down through the ball of the foot, making sure the ankle doesn't cave in. Pushing, pushing for 10. Now build the intensity. Build it right up for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now do the opposite. Get heavy on the heel. Imagine you were trying to pick up the ball of your foot and pull it towards your shin. Get as heavy as you can on that heel and maintain intensity. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switching back to that gas pedal sensation, pushing the ball of the foot through the floor as if you were trying to push up. Build intensity throughout your PAIL sets. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straight into rails. Jumping straight into the heaviest you can be on that heel. Trying to maintain this regressive tissue here is what we're working. That's what I want you to feel. Top of foot stuff. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last set. Push, PAILS. Keep pushing, keep driving. 8, 7, hard as you can. 5, 4, max effort. 3, 2, 1, and then straight into rails. Push that heel down. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. All right. Whew. Come on out. We're switching straight to the other side. Okay, come into the stretch. Like I said, like for a lot of people, this doesn't feel like a giant stretch because there's a lot of connective tissue, a lot of tough connective tissue at the back here. So just know that if you can get it into a lengthened position and try to put some load over it and hang out there for long enough, you will start to feel it. Okay. All right, everybody getting yourself set up. PAILS and rails for 3 rounds. Breath in and start to get heavy on the ball of the foot. PAILS starts now. Push, push, push. Build the intensity. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails heavy on that heel. Sink down into it. Pull into it. Pull into it. Try to pull deeper. Can the knee go further over the toes? Can this gap here get smaller? 4, 3, 2, 1. Push through the ball of the foot. Build the intensity. 7, 6, push harder. 4, 3, come on. 2, 1. Rails, heavy heel. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. 10 seconds. Can you get any heavier on that heel? Sink on in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round. Push through the ball of the foot. Push harder. Push harder, push harder, push harder. Push as hard as you can, max for 3, 2, 1, and straight into rails. Heavy heel, heavy heel. Keep breathing. Don't forget to breathe. I often forget to breathe in my rails contractions. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. All right. And done. Okay, good. Popping out of there. Okay, end range work for the ankles. So this is a drill that I like to do with a little bit of load, but you do not have to add the load. The load is completely optional. This is a passive end range hold for ankle dorsiflexion. So I'm going to show you what it would look like without the load first. I would lean as far into the stretch as I could, activate my rail sensation, trying to pull top of foot to front of shin. I would try to maintain that as I rock my body back and do my best to maintain the same distance between the foot and the shin. So I'm trying not to let the foot drop, okay? Trying not to drop out of dorsiflexion. I'll show you from the side. I'm going to lean into it, squeeze my rails stuff, push back and try to maintain the same distance between my shin and my foot. I'm going to hold that, keep squeezing, and then I'm going to come back in, reset, find my rails again, and then hold. So what I'm doing is I'm expressing what we call our passive range, the amount of dorsiflexion that I can express with my body weight and gravity pushing into it, and then I'm shifting to try to hold that same range as I remove the support of the floor, okay? Now, I like to load it simply by throwing an ankle weight over my foot, just so I get a little bit more feedback, a little bit more sensation. I've also been doing this drill for a long time, so I need that. You might not need that. You might get a strong regressive tissue sensation just by doing those rock backs, those passive end range holds. Now, if you're doing the stretch in a standing up position, so if you're at a wall and you're in dorsiflexion here, it's going to be a little bit different. What you're going to do is you're going to think rails, and then you might just have to step away from the wall and step back and see if you can lift that foot. So standing at the wall, find your rails, step back, try to lift the foot. Okay, that would be more like what you're doing if you can't get down into this position. Okay, let's go. We've got these for 1 minute. So choose the setup that you're going to use. 3, 2, 1. Come as deep as you can into the stretch. Find your rails, maintain your rails as you rock back. Try to hold that end range. Fight for more for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back in and rock out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back into the stretch, find your rails, try to hold that rails as you lift out. And all the time I'm trying not just to maintain, but I'm actually having to think, can I lift that foot higher? Can I lift it any higher? Come back in and repeat. Try to lift it higher. All this stuff starting to fatigue. Try to lift it higher. And try to lift it higher. Hold, 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, other side. So as long as you get the premise of what we're trying to do, it really doesn't really matter what position you're doing this in. You could even be like seated on a low stool if that works for you. Ready, set, leaning on in, finding your rails, trying to lift off, lift away. Good, come back in, lift, fight gravity, and come back in. Get as deep as you can, find your rails, and then try to maintain that same range of motion. And keep going, come back in, find that rails, lean out, maintain, 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 try to lift the foot higher, lift it higher, lift it higher, more dorsiflexion, and down, and back up, fight for more dorsiflexion. Keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting. Come back in, we got time for, at least one more. And lift, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, that should have woken up your shins, your feet, all that good stuff coming on out of there. Okay, we're going to save the work with some loaded ankle cars. So these are actually quite nice compared to the loaded knee cars. We are going to just do these in a simple seated position. I'm going to, again, wrap the ankle weight around my foot. Nice and tight so it doesn't fall off. And I'm just going to pop this leg out in front of me, resting my calf on a block. Make sure that you've got plenty of room for that ankle to move. Okay, so ready, set, revisiting that dorsiflexion that we just trained, really trying to pull top of foot to front of shin and express as much range as your ankle can manage. I'll tell you when to switch directions. For now, we're just going one direction. Feeling relatively chill compared to the end range work. And switch. Wherever you are in the car, just switch directions. Three, 2, 1. Done. Good stuff. All right, other side. Okay. 1 minute starts now. I'm pretty good at not letting my knee be my ankle, but my toes always want to get involved. Do the best you can to keep those toes relaxed as you scoop out your ankle cores. Nice and slow. Don't let the weight pull you around. Make sure you're controlling every inch of that car and switch wherever you are, pulling up into as much dorsiflexion as you can, and plantar flexion, scooping up. These always feel really satisfying in my mind, especially if you have been running. They feel like a great way to nurture the ankles a little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Okay, all right. Knees and ankles taken care of. That leaves us with toesies. Okay, so a basic that we're going to start off with tonight is big toe extension. And you might think, well, why is that important? This is your big toe and this is extension. Okay, super important for our walking, our gait cycle. One of the things that I look for in clients, can you touch your toes? Can you sit? Do you have big toe extension? It's really, really important. So you're going to need a wall or a yoga block, whichever is more accessible. If you have a wall and a yoga block, even better, because you can push the yoga block up against the wall. See how I've pushed mine up against the bench here. I'll show you the setup that you're going to need to get into. Hands on the wall, and I'm going to put my big toe up on the corner of the yoga block. Can you guys see that there? So I'm in a stretch. If I do this foot first, you can probably see better. I'm in a stretched position. My big toe is in extension, and I'm feeling the stretch all through this stuff here. Make sure you don't get a pinch in the front of the big toe here. We don't want that. Okay, so come into the stretch for me, and we're going to do PAILS and rails. Your PAILS is you trying to push your big toe through the yoga block. Your rails is you imagining that you could pull your big toe away from the yoga block. Now, once we've done PAILS and rails on both sides, we're going to go into lift-offs. So lift-offs would be literally more like an active rails, pulling and creating space away from the yoga block. So if you can create space right now, I want you to come into the stretch a bit deeper so that we get that true isometric, and we'll train the lift-offs afterwards. All right, timer is set. PAILS, start to drive your big toe into the block. Should feel like the arch of your foot starts to light up. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Watch out for that foot cramp and drive for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails, try to pull your big toe away from the block. Imagine pulling away from the block. I don't actually want you to pull away from the block. We just want the isometric. Squeeze that short tissue. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now push through the block. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. 5, 4, push harder, 3, 2, 1, and try to lift off. Feel top of foot stuff. Top of foot stuff. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to PAILS. Push. Strength training for your foot. Try to drive. Try to drive. All sorts of weird sensations going through my foot right now. Keep pushing. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try to lift off. Keep lifting. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. That's done. Relax into the stretch. Try not to jump out right away. Good. All right. Slowly come out. Give those toes a wiggle. And we will jump straight into the other side. So just the big toe coming into the stretch. Fix my setup here. Okay, just the big toe coming into the stretch. Make sure your blocks are up against something so that you can really push. And we're going to do the other side. Okay, ready, set, start to push into the blocks. Feel the arch of your foot activate. Feel that medial arch switch on. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Imagine you could pull the big toe away from the block. Imagine you could pull the big toe away from the block. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to pushing. Now, if this setup isn't working for you for any reason, or you didn't have yoga blocks, you could easily do this literally with your hands. So if you can get down and reach your toes, you can do this with your hands. 3, 2, 1. Rails, try to pull. 8, 7, keep pulling. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. PAILS push, last set, make it a good one. Push, push, push. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails, try to lift away. Keep trying to lift away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good stuff. Come out of there. Wiggle those toes around, walk around a bit if you need to. If you got foot cramp, I'm sorry. Welcome to the wonderful world of training your feet. Let's come back to the first foot that you trained. You're going to come back into the same stretch, only not quite as deep, because this time when I say rails, I actually want you to be able to lift off and create space between your big toe and the block. That is an end range lift off, and we are going to be doing that for 1 minute. So nothing else in my body moves, just that big toe working that regressive strength. Ready, set, go. Lift off, and lift off. If it's too easy, get closer to your block. If it's too hard, move slightly farther away. If the block isn't working for you at all, get down and just move that big toe around. Try to lift it away from your hand, lift it away from your fingers. Same concept, same exercise essentially, can be done in a million different ways. Keep lifting. You've got 20 seconds left. And every time you lift, I want you to fight for more. So it's not just like a tap, tap, tap. It's a lift, fight for more. Lift, fight for more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Done. All right, other side. Last bit of end range work for tonight, I promise. Come up to that block, give it a test run. When you do your rails, can you lift away? Just about. Okay, ready? Set, and let's go. 1 minute. Lift offs. Keep going. Lift, fight for more. Lift, fight for more. And if you were like very bad at this to begin with, notice how with the reps, maybe you start to connect the dots. Maybe it starts to come together just the more you try. Switching on the lights, switching on the pathways. Keep pulling. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Excellent, guys. Well done. Come to a seated position, and let's just quickly run through those toe cars again to save the work. Lifting the big toes, putting them down, lifting the little toes, putting them down, lifting the big toes, putting them down, lifting the smaller toes and putting them down. Trying not to let the ankles cave in or out. Let's do that one more time. Lift, lift, and then lift all 10. Spread as wide as you can. Do your best to play the piano with your toes. One more time. Lift, spread, and put down. Well done, guys. You made it through. That was quite the class. So we worked on the quads, the knees, the ankles, the toes. Next time we're going to be working on those same joints, but in different ways. All right, guys, I hope to see you in the next class, and please leave any questions or comments underneath. We will get back to you.